Hello guys, welcome back to Concrete Elbow. Engin recently had a podcast with Levan, and of course, as most of you already know, I'm gonna make a lot of videos out of it. But don't worry, I gathered only like 25 video materials this time, so I'm not gonna disturb your feed too much. Anyways, at one point there was a super chat asking Levan's opinion about Brian Shaw's first opponent. Who does Levan think would be a good first match for Brian Shaw? And Levan's answer was really surprising.
If you could pick the first pro arm wrestling match for Brian Shaw, who would it be and why? Like, if you would find an opponent for Brian Shaw, his first match, who do you think that person should be?
Hi.
For the first match?
Yeah.
You might think that Levan was just joking saying that. I was thinking the same myself, but after Levan gave his answer, he proceeded to give an in-depth explanation on why he should be Brian's first opponent. Levan literally took like 7 minutes explaining why he is the best first opponent for Brian. You can watch and hear it yourself from Engin's podcast if you want, and Levan started talking about it in the 16-minute mark, by the way. But just to sum it all up, Levan positioned himself in two different perspectives, one as the fans and two as Brian. As the fans, Levan thinks if Brian faces someone else other than him for his first opponent and loses, the fans would lose interest in him arm wrestling, and that includes our hope of Brian beating Levan one day. Basically, the Brian Shaw hype would be dead. And two as Brian himself. If Brian loses his first match against someone other than Levan, Levan believes that Brian will get demotivated instantly and quit arm wrestling, and Levan does not want that. So with that said, Levan thinks him being Brian's first opponent is the best idea. Levan also mentioned about it being a good show. I mean, I agree with that. The best in strongman meets the best in arm wrestling. That would get a lot of exposure. And by the way, the reason why Levan was so confident that Brian will lose against anyone, because despite his immense raw strength, Brian is still a baby in arm wrestling. Levan acknowledges Brian's superiority over anyone who started arm wrestling, but at the same time, as of for now, he's still not sure how far Brian would take this thing in the future. If Brian can focus 100% in arm wrestling in the next 3 years, Levan believes Brian will definitely be able to do some serious damage to the top guys. But Levan has seen some guys who migrated from the sport to arm wrestling but ended up quitting it after some time because they lost interest in it. Even though Brian has mentioned many times that he's genuinely interested in arm wrestling and is willing to take it seriously in the long term. But I guess for now, Levan is still not fully convinced yet. Well, I guess time will show.